Welcome to Alexandrians with Karim, where I interview authors, both living and dead ones, the power of AI. Today's guest is Teresa Lawrence, a best-selling author in the leadership sector, founder and executive director of the Trueness Project, and creative visionary behind Covered Wagon Nation. As a Cuban-born refugee turned attorney, educator, and entrepreneur, Teresa's life is a true blueprint for reinvention and metamorphosis. In our conversation, we speak about the power of imagination, how to consult your conscience in times of crisis, what the Flutterverse is, and why humanity needs to discover our inner child again and create a unifying, playful vision onwards. Enjoy this conversation, like and subscribe, and don't forget to share this with people of your trust. Thank you for tuning in.
Teresa, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. What a pleasure.
The pleasure is on my side. And one of the first things we connected over was what we see in the background in your beautiful cabin. So tell us where we are and why there are butterflies in the background and what they mean to you.
So these particular butterflies behind me, they're very, very special. They were created by Muriel Blanc as a gift to my nonprofit. Muriel is, she's a healer. She's an international author, and she's an artist. But most importantly, she's a board member of the Trueness Project. And the symbol of the Trueness Project is the butterfly. And so she created those for the first butterfly event. And for everybody who's watching or listening, I host the largest gathering of people dressed as butterflies around the world each year, the last Saturday in June. And so it's a very fun event. We pray for peace and we all dress up as butterflies to symbolize the transformation we all go through. So that is the beginning conversation of the butterfly. There's so much more. I'm not quite sure how much you want me to share because I could keep going for like a few hours.
We have a few hours, luckily, and it's like much due to me being a little bit late, and we can go a little bit longer, no problem. Do you know what butterfly means in German as a word?
Schmeckeldorf, right?
Schmeckendorf also sounds spectacular. It's Schmetterling. It's one of the things that
Schmetterling.
often make fun
so now all the
too.
Germans are truly going to laugh. Schmetterling.
Schmetterdorf.
Well, if I remember, I will tell you. Was it this year? Yeah, everything happened this year. It's really hard. I think time is accelerating. That's my own personal idea because the amount of things that have happened this year, and it feels like they were ages ago. So this year, I hosted my butterfly event the last Saturday in June, and then I got on a plane and I called it the European Flutter.
Also not bad.
And the reason I bring this up is the Schmetterling. We went to the Island of Flowers in, I think it's on an island between Switzerland and Germany, but it might be in Switzerland. I am place challenged, as it were, since every place is here and now. But we went and we had a flutter. We continued the flutter. And it is my understanding that that means butterfly in German and that it means that something actually dissolves. Like the word means like turning into something else. Do I have that right?
Schmettern?
Yes.
No, it's you're completely off the wrong foot here. But let me explain, because this is a word that English people.
Why were they chasing me, calling me that? What does it mean?
Schmettern is the act of punching something very hardly. So it's like they were named after this because they're punching the air, and it's usually people make fun of the German language because it's so harsh and brutal. Well, even we take something as beautiful as a butterfly.
That's so brutal. So you're taking something beautiful, yes. Like papillon.
Papillon, much better. One of the things I'm interested in, what is your first memory in regards to an encounter with a butterfly? Or where did you fall in love with this this particular creature?
Um, I would say I fell in. Did I tell you about the fireflies in North Carolina or no?
No.
No. Okay. So I have family in North Carolina. My son now is in his 30s, but when he was young, we would go to North Carolina each year, and at night, we're talking nighttime, so we're talking moths, right? And fireflies. Um, Grandma used to have this box, and we would go, and the fireflies would light up, and we'd catch them, and we'd put them in this thing, and then we'd have lanterns to go around, and and we got to go spend time in nature and be outside. And one of the most beautiful things about that is we had our little flashlights, and we would walk around, and then we would walk into fields, and there would be such nature and such beauty, and the moths would be out because it would be nighttime, and we could see them. So I would say when my son was little, we experienced a lot of beautiful time in nature. um, I've always been fascinated by butterflies, but that time, that special time when you're when you're a parent or a mother with a child and you experience something joyous, um, it just leaves a beautiful memory. And I know that he enjoyed it, and all the other children enjoyed it, and I felt like a child, you know. So we would do that at night, and then during the day in the mountains, they would come um, and flutter. So, did you know that a collection of butterflies is called a flutter or a kaleidoscope?
Oh, really? I didn't know this. This sounds beautiful. A flutter or a kaleidoscope?
Yes. So I call my universe the Flutterverse.
The
Yes, I do.
flutterverse.
I know you do a lot of AI. So I have a whole imaginary universe. And when
Well,
people sign up for the event, I say, "Welcome to the Flutterverse."
yeah.
And it doesn't take dressing up like a butterfly to enter. It just means that you appreciate the idea of transformation and change, and you have that vision for a transformed world. Because being in the Flutterverse, I have to tell you, is a lot more fun than being in the regular verse that we're all in.
Yeah, it's like it's now I'm getting your vision a little bit clearer. And my life's task right now is to work on making humanity multi-dimensional as a species. But I was primarily thinking about being able to utilize AI and other technologies to advise intergenerationally so that I can speak to the dead and friends from the past. But now that I'm thinking, it would also be beautiful, for instance, for the preservation of species that are not human, and for maybe even like poke your nose a little bit into these kinds of worlds. And that's a wonderful vision that you're having. And Flutterverse, I really like this. What does it feel like for you to be in the Flutterverse? Because one of the things that I found with great founders, and I believe you belong in that category, is that they often create a mirror world with something that is very rich in regards to something that they were deprived of at some point. Why is it important for you to create this layer of on the world?
Because for me, it's true. I was deprived of being my authentic self. Before I'm an immigrant, my family left Cuba when in 1969. We went to Spain for 2 years. And then from Spain, we came to the United States, and we had nothing. And so I'm the youngest of four, and I think I was deprived of a childhood. I became an instant mini adult. And by age 7, I was translating documents. I became a lawyer, but I feel I was a lawyer because I was already translating documents, doing, taking family members to immigration, translating for them, doing all this stuff. So I do, I do think that and it's not just immigrants. I think that a lot of children miss having a true childhood, a space of innocence and creativity where they're told it's okay to dream and to follow your dream. When I was young, it was all survival. It was all you don't want to make waves because you want to fit in, because you speak Spanish and you're not like these people that you're with. And that's not a mindset that I want anybody to have. You know, wherever we are, we belong and we have value, and we 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 bring love and our verse to the universe, right? So in in the Flutterverse, you miss out on the pain. You simply go to, thank you so much for being on this earth. Please share with me your love, your intention, and who you really are. So there you go. So you're right.
It's a beautiful. Thanks so much for sharing that. I sometimes wonder if some of the pathologies we see in modern man are much a consequence of shortened childhood in some forms, where we are trying to get something back that we didn't get when we needed it to have. And I was blessed with a great mother. Shout out to my mother if you're listening to it. And she was, for instance, when I was a kid, I was playing to be a chief. And then my mom would get this tent, and we had a very small apartment, and the tent was in the living room, and I was a chief for a month, and everybody was addressing me as the chief, and it was like this little cosmos that was maybe also like the root of my narcissism, but it's like it was also this ability to play and to listen and to tap into the bubble. And that was, I feel like, one of the things that was so important for my leadership career later, because I allowed me to listen and to figure out what's the myth that is governing the people that I'm trying to inspire or help, or kind of things. So any story that comes to your mind where you relearned the ability to create this bubble around yourself after it popped?
I think you said something so beautiful. You were allowed to play. And sometimes I scare people because I am playing. That's all. Like, I wake up, I'm so happy to be doing what I'm doing. Like today, I used AI. You'd be so proud of me. People, I don't use AI. I just do what I do, and younger people use. But I was using AI because it's Halloween in the United States. I don't know when this is airing, but and I was turning people into butterflies. Right, using AI, and I was sending out pictures, and I was saying, welcome to the Flutterverse. I was inviting them in, and everybody, and in fact, I wrote a whole, like, my whole philosophy, my whole mentorship thing is called the leadership of play. All inventions happen in a state of playfulness. When you are in play, like, it's like your facade, everything drops, and you have that connection to that power that just fills us with ideas. All of these possibilities exist, but if you and you can get to it in deep emotion. I just choose to get to that power with joy and happiness. I mean, and you'll find this with many founders. They work constantly, and you say, but you're working all the time, and they go, what do you mean? I'm not working. I'm playing, right? I mean, that's what they're doing. I mean, sometimes I have to be told to go to sleep because I'm having so much fun doing what I'm doing that I can't stop doing it. And that is imagine a workforce around the world. Imagine tapping in to that magic and having people love their jobs, having people just feel like they're going to go play, you know? And that is a space where creativity and magic just takes off. Um, and so yes, the my space is such a creative, joyous space, and I'm so glad to be in it. And yes, I did have a career as an attorney, and I got to tap into this for other people, but it's quite different when you're tapping into it for your personal vision. And then you find other people that share it, and then it's like, boom, right? It's like you've got magic, and then boom, you find more people, and then the energy just grows and grows and grows. Um, so that's where I am. I don't know if I answered your question, but it's
You
all
answered
about
yeah, you answered your question. I love also your the idea that magical people just appear at some point. One of my favorite quotes from Jung is, I'm butchering this totally, is to not lose hope in times of isolation when you pursue your strivings, because there's a community of people you meet past the horizons who will help you, or some part of this. And it's like I'm at this stage where I've went through a long desert, so to say, where I lost a lot of friends as a consequence of me following my adventure. But now, like, people are popping up left and right who wants to help and who open doors, and where it's like it's very interesting to notice that this community exists who's waiting for you. And you mentioned also something very interesting in regards to this childlike form of magic. One of the things I was interested in was like God is often depicted in stories as a child. Have you ever noticed it? In many movies, it's like in the Old Testament, for instance, like God makes an appearance as being as a child. I
Um,
always was curious about that.
well, so this is so funny. It's reminding me of. So I love movies. You know, I'm doing a lot of things with film right now, and this
Yeah,
is going to make you life. Have you ever watched Tagadeya Nights? You know, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
not yet.
It's about NASCAR racing.
Okay.
Okay, so for people in North Carolina, you're going to get me right now because those people know car racing. They know stuff, and it's a very funny movie. And at some point, Carl Norton Jr. turns to Ricky Bobby and says, "The baby Jesus is my favorite Jesus." See, it's so funny. It's really one of the funniest movies. If you enjoy car racing, it is interesting because that everybody's going praise Jesus, and then the main character sees a beautiful woman and she is outright gorgeous, and all of a sudden she goes like this, raises her top, and he goes, "Praise Jesus, she's my wife." But
Um,
my point is, so my family is Cuban, and the Cuban culture, depending on where you are, it doesn't matter who you are. Christianity has a baby Jesus, it has an adult Jesus, it has every aspect of the journey, and the child Jesus is the joyous Jesus. It has the magic of the three kings, the my following it. It has the celebrations, it has the joy. But what does it symbolize? It symbolizes the inner child in all of us being on this earth and understanding that we are part of that divine mission, that we are divine. And when you're a baby, you know that, right? And then something happens around age 7 or age 8. I mean, for me, it happened earlier because it was sort of traumatic, and I became a little adult, right? But at some point, somebody says, "No, that's not real. You know, do this." And when you're a child, I mean, there are adults around you, unless they're magical beings that remember that magic of being a child. They're going to shut you down too because that's all they know. And soon you have shut down people and shut down people and shut down people. But that child is precious and beautiful and full of love and ideas. And if we remember that child, especially the baby Jesus child, it is a moment of expansion and ideas because we land on this earth to share our verse, to share our magic. And it comes in the form of a baby. So it's just like, it's beautiful. But really, watch that movie because it's so funny. It makes fun of religion in so many ways, and it's so true in so many ways. Um, you know, um, because religion is beautiful, but spirituality binds all of us
yeah.
because every religion believes that they are the answer. And if every religion is the answer, that means all religions are the answer, and they should stop fighting with each other, right? So, so
It's
there you go.
it's you shared something. We talked about movies a little bit, and one of my favorite movies, Citizen Kane. It's a very old movie. I'm sure you've watched it. And the cameraman was one of the most legendary cameramans of all time. And he was asked why he would work with a first-time director. And I think he said it's because he doesn't know yet what he can't do. And there's this beautiful idea about a found. I imagine many of these big founders, they spend a lot of their time in this childlike temperament where they just explore questions that other people are conditioned not to ask anymore. And magic for me happened when I dared to ask the question and just was open to the idea of finding an answer. And in my case, it was like how to talk to the dead. In my case, and it was like so interesting, even if you don't find an answer, but it leads you to a very interesting path that is on your own journey on discovering what your verse will be in the song of life, so to say. You shared one story earlier in one of our previous correspondences that I find very interesting, which was about the awakening of your conscience. I wonder if you could tell that story again, because it moved me very much.
Well, honestly, I don't remember the story, but I do know that I'm not the same person that started this journey. And I do know that you think you're doing something, right? You're going straight, and there's something so powerful that's coming down that's moving you to the right, to the right. I think it's to the right. I'm going to the right. So we all have a plan. This is my personal belief. It may not be true for everyone, but this is my personal belief because, and I will share with everybody, because I'm an immigrant and the immigration story was very difficult. And I thought that my mission on this earth was dun, 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 to save the children, I was a savior. Woo, save. And I wrote this little book called Gloriousness.
Yeah. That's a great picture.
And it's about a child named Ness who's very messy, and she feels very sad inside, and she hasn't yet figured out the power of story. Now, this has to do with transformation because things happen to us. We come here, things happen to us. So the question is, are the things that happen to us who we are, or are they just things that happen? If we are truly infinite beings of love and light, are we committed to the experiences that happen? Is that who we are, or are they just experiences and we are here as grand explorers, right? And so the book Gloriousness teaches children that they can write their stories no matter what happens. The truth is something happened, and then the trajectory of your life will be determined with what you make out of that experience. If it's a horrible experience and you blame and you hate the person that did that to you, you are giving power and energy to the person who hurt you forever. You are generating that energy of love and light is leaving you and going to that person. And from my personal experience, people that have hurt me have, one, very rare that they know that they hurt me. Two, if they hurt me, they may have not been who they are now, and going back and demanding an apology isn't going to do anything. Or three, it was a horrible event. That person is never going to apologize. So what do I do? Do I hold that in my field, or do I let it go? That's why I always say forgiveness is so beautiful. It's a gift to yourself. Give yourself a gift. Because you evolve as your story evolves and as you realize that you are the master of that ship. So I started the journey trying to give out this book, trying to save children. I ended up in Kenya doing a speaker's keynote tour, and then something happened. Something out of the blue happens, right? And I was asked what needs to be taught in schools, and I said transformational leadership needs to be taught in schools because you can have all the education in the world, and if you don't know what to do with it, you just keep on getting new degrees or you sit home and do nothing. And because I said that, and the media loved it, and they had an agenda where they wanted to raise the consciousness of the students, that went viral. And I went from giving out my little book to having my phone ring off the hook saying teach transformational leadership. And so I came up with a course on transformational leadership, and I started basically telling my story. No matter what happens to you, you could have anything and everything taken from you except the power of your mind and your education. Of both of those two things, my father, who is 94, still argues with me. He still says education is the most important thing you could possibly have. And he keeps saying, you are here in your position because of my education. And I turn to him and I say, no, I am here because of the power of my mind and because of the power of your mind. It's a constant struggle. But showing people that they have the power to recognize that and to say, I don't need to listen to what other people think. It's what they think. It's not who I am, right? It's the power of story. How much power do you give to the people around you, to the stories that they do, or do you harness that power inside of you and direct your ship? And so that is my personal transformation. Led me from somebody who was a people pleaser, who didn't want to be seen, who was too scared to do basically anything that would offend or rock anybody's boat. And then COVID hit, everybody started passing. Most of the people I love started passing. And I realized I hadn't done anything I wanted to do in my life. The minute I started doing anything and everything I've ever wanted to do, even though I don't know what I'm doing, let's be clear. People are listening and they see what I'm doing, this and that. Every day I wake up in joy because I have no idea what I'm doing, how I'm going to do it. I'm just doing because I have a vision of a whole transformed world. And I want everybody to enter the Flutterverse. And I do think that these ideas come down. It's like gifts. And if I don't grab them, somebody else is going to grab them. Daniel's going to grab them, right? I mean, when Einstein came up with the theory of relativity, other people had the download. He was lucky. He proved it first, right? But I think that there were at least two other people that came up with that, right? And so it's there. The ideas are there. You just need to grab them. And if your consciousness keeps growing and saying, okay, what's my next step? Who am I? Who do I want to be? And I said earlier, I looked forward to meeting your future self. To you. I mean, that's what it's all about, becoming better and better and better. And the story just keeps evolving. You just have to give yourself permission to explore, to be that child. So I don't know if I answered your question, but every day I wake up and I create things and new opportunities come up that I had no freaking idea I was going to do. I wanted to give out a book. The next thing, I'm teaching transformational leadership. It spreads from Kenya to Nepal. Other places are calling. I give out books all over the world. I never imagined doing that. I have a documentary. It's about I've been in 4 film festivals. It just keeps going. Like every day something new happens. It's like, wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, it's for me a true founders are much like artists, and it's like for me an artist is much like a lover, and like for me, if I know why I love somebody, if I can name it, the chances are high that I'm not really in love with that person. And I feel like artists, they have these grand explanations of I have this vision, but it seems to me more like the vision has them in some degree, and they also are not exactly sure what is animating them in a way. And I would be curious. You told me one time in private this one story where I think there was somebody trying to rob you or something, and you had this.
Oh, that's the day I knew. I mean, I always knew that there was something out there, but I graduated from Columbia Law School, and then I took the bar. For people who don't know what the bar is, that's the test that lawyers, attorneys have to take in order to be certified. So I took that. I passed. I got hired by a very famous attorney in New York City. My office was at 26 Broadway. That's if you know New York and you know the Wall Street Bull, it's the building directly behind there. And so on my first day of work, I wanted to make sure I was early, and I showed up early. I got into this elevator. It's one of those high rises in New York, and I got in, and the elevator stopped on the 3rd floor, and a 6'2" man, rather large man, entered the elevator and stands across from me. He looks at me. I look at him. And then the next thing I know, he pulls out a gun and he points it at my head. He grabs me. He's like, the gun is here. And he goes, give me your money. And I turned to him, and the words that came out of my mouth were not my words. I don't know where they came from, but they weren't me, because at that point, whoever I am left my body, and I started staring down at what was happening. And I turned to this man who just asked me for all of my money, and I said, I'm sorry, it's my first day of work. I don't have any money, so can't do that. Then he looked at my engagement ring, which was there, and I had just gotten that because I was young, and everything happens all at the same time because I was living the story. You graduate, you get married, you've got kids. So, of course, the engagement ring is happening there too. And so then he turns to me and he goes, okay, give me your engagement ring. And I had just taken the bar and I knew everything about insurance and this, that, and the other. And I turned to him and I say something that nobody in their right mind would say. I'm sorry, it's not insured. You can't have it. This man has a gun to my head and is holding me. And I'm telling him my ring is not insured. He can't have it. He's looking at me like I am so freaking insane, right? And he's like, okay, like, and you could tell, like he didn't know whether, like he just didn't know what to do. And the elevator goes up to the ninth floor. The doors open, and I don't know how it is in Europe, but in downtown New York, they have elevators, and across they have stairwells with fire doors, and the fire doors are very heavy. And so the doors open, and then he grabbed me and he started dragging me to the stairwell. And at that point, I'm still watching what's happening. And and he tries to open up the fire door, which is really heavy. And he's holding a gun and he's holding me. And he can't do all three things at the same time. And the only thought going through my mind was, okay, these are the elements of the crime, because I had just taken the bar. So I'm like, okay, he has committed assault and battery. And now if he gets me into the stairwell, he's going to rape me and he's probably going to kill me. Right? Like all of this is going through my mind. And as soon as he opened the door, I hear this resounding voice going, push him and run. Right? And I did. I pushed him as soon as he started opening the door, and I ran. And I ran into the only office that was open, which was the broker's office. And I started shaking and I said, call the police, I've been mugged. And at that point, I got really, really scared. It was like, boom, I came back into my body, and whatever fear I was supposed to have that I didn't have came to me then. And at that point, I realized I am always protected. There is something that surrounds me, that protects me, and I have access to it. I think we all have access to it in times of great need. So the question of ascension is, how do we have access to that voice, that knowing, that protection without times of fear or severe danger? That to me is the key. How do we get to a point where that being that came in, that knew exactly what to do, exactly when to do it, comes in and guides each and every step of my way? And we all have this. So how do we connect to that part of us that simply knows the truth, that we are part of something so much bigger than we remember that we are? That's why everybody talks about remembering. We're remembering that we are part of the divine, and that's what's guiding us. So there you go. That's the story. It's a good story.
It's a beautiful story. One of my father's saying is like that he tells me often in German is sei eins mit deinem Gewissen. And Gewissen is the German word for conscience. But Wissen also means knowing. And in English, conscience means faculty of knowing. And one of my favorite stories is from the old story of Socrates, actually, is the idea that like Socrates was the wisest man in the world, but he always said he does not know nothing, because he said that there was this demonium, like this entity next to him, who was always speaking up when something was out of touch, and it would say no to people or certain decisions. And there was this one story where he was making lots of enemies by telling the truth to everybody around, and they wanted to kill him, but he said, "You, we will not kill you if you leave, I think, Athens or something." And the demonian again spoke up and said no. And then he stayed and went to the court and gave them all a big speech and drank the poison and died. And it was like because he felt this was on his path. And I always found it very interesting, the idea that we've lost touch with the ability to consult this entity within ourselves. And I think one of the great decays of our civilization is that we've forgotten that something like this exists. Do you believe we have a conscience or something that we can ask and tap into in a way?
I do. And I think the great thinkers believe that too. And even in the book, Think and Grow Rich, I'm looking for it now. That's why I'm looking around. I think it's on the floor over there. But even Napoleon Hill. So I give out 4 books. I'm going to get to your question, but we give out 4 books. One is The Richest Man in Babylon.
I like that book so much. Yeah.
So I think I have them all. Think and Grow Rich is down there. But The Richest Man in Babylon, The 4 Agreements, The Alchemist,
Yeah.
and then Think and Grow Rich. And if you give me a second, I will get it. This one is Russell Brunson's Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful addition.
But the reason I bring it up is that if, how can I say this? Napoleon Hill was commissioned by Andrew Carnegie to go out and discover why all these people were wealthy. What were they doing? And they all had masterminds, and they all had specific ways of fulfilling their destinies. But one of the most interesting chapters in the book is exactly what you asked. You know, do I think there's something out there that we can connect to? So in this chapter in the book, it talks about the divine counsel. And I think you brought that up too with talking to the dead, right? You seek counsel, right? And so this beautiful chapter, Napoleon Hill sits down and says, okay, well, I want counsel from this great mind, and this great mind, and this great mind. How would they do it? And before he'd go to sleep, he'd go, I really want information about this, and I want to have a conversation with so-and-so, right? I mean, for you, Socrates. I mean, for me, Michelangelo, and these great minds. And he talks about this great council coming together as a mastermind to solve a problem that the individual couldn't solve on his own. And so what I found so fascinating about it is that a lot of people believe that Think and Grow Rich is a Christian book. And so if it is a Christian book, how does it have this in it, right? It's not really, it's not any religion, it's simply spiritual, right? And so what's fascinating for that is that he knew instinctively that there was an energy, a knowledge that he could tap into. Einstein did the same thing. He would go to sleep with a pen in his hand, and ponder or just sit and go to sleep, and then the pen would drop, and the answers to what he was asking for would come in because he gave himself an opportunity to connect. And so the answer to your question is yes. I believe we are all connected to something beautiful and powerful. And I think the way we connect is by being who we truly are. It is by peeling away all the facades of, I need to do this for this reason. If you don't want to do something, it's not you. Don't do it. If your parents want you to do something, that's your parents' dream. That's not you. If something makes you incredibly uncomfortable, you're either not ready for that experience or you're being protected from something that's going to harm you. You know, at some point when I started this journey and I was young and I didn't understand why people weren't helping me. And it was because the vibration, who I was projecting, wasn't at a level to reach those people, right? And so this goes back to your last question of ascension and are we connected to something else? We are, but it's like this: level, 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 level. And you talked about how as you go higher, you lose friends because they're not with you at that level of the journey. And then you go higher and other people show up. You go higher, other people show up, and then you drop because we're all vibrating at different levels. And it doesn't, in each level, it's not good or bad. It's just where you are, right? And so when you ask a question, why not me? Well, there's something that's holding you back. That's why not you. And what is it? Is it your beliefs? Is it your upbringing? Is it societal patterns? Is it something limiting that says you can't get there? I grew up in a time where women weren't supposed to be leaders. Women, like especially my Spanish culture. I mean, it's so interesting that my dad is so proud of me right now because I assure you he didn't want me to do this to begin with. And now he's as proud as could be. But, like I'm supposed to be home, taking care of my home, taking care of my family and everybody else. Well, that doesn't leave a lot of room to take care of me and my vision. And what I found is if you do what you love, if you are out there just shining, everything else takes care of itself. People find a way to shine. People find a way to do things that you were doing for them and that they expected you to do for the rest of their lives. Like somehow they step up and then they say thank you. And you don't know why they're saying thank you, but they're saying thank you because you chose yourself and you chose to shine and you chose to bring that spark of the divine onto this earth and you just up leveled everybody. So I don't know if I answered your question, but that's the truth. And
it's also to those who are wondering when those people are starting to help you. I feel that there's a certain codex that is unexpressed that these people follow, where, like, I think I met once a fundraiser in Bali. He was a very interesting guy. His name was Isaac, and it was like he had one of the worst stutterers I met in my whole life. He could barely get out of sentence. And I worked next to him for almost a year. He had a big beard. He looked like this Greek Spartan guy, but couldn't bring out one sentence. He tried to raise, I think, $50,000 for his startup, and it took him 1 year. And I saw him every day on the phone, just getting rejected and rejected and rejected. And one of the things he shared is like, Daniel, for me, this journey is a little bit like walking up a tower and knocking on doors. And most of the times they don't open. Sometimes they open and people have a look at you and then they say, is this person ready or not? And it's not only that the right person appears, but also you're changing along the journey. I feel like at the right time, the people will help you. And it's important, I think, to keep this in the back of your mind that if you don't give up and you commit yourself to something beautiful, there is more help than you know what to do with, so to say.
I absolutely agree because most people would quit after the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth rejection, right?
Oh yeah, or
And
the first year. I was very surprised that my journey took me many years. I was like, I thought it would happen very quick. I was like, but God has different plans.
No, but your journey is beautiful, but you probably learned a great deal during that time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, for sure. And I always like, it was always more important to me to have the adventure than the treasure. It was always, I always wanted to come back and have cool stories to tell. And that was somewhat like rewarding enough to have for me. And like, if I have my dirt bike, my book, and some music to hear, I'm a happy camper, so to say. Anyway, one of the things
No,
that
I want to talk about exactly what you're saying, the journey and the story. So what is
please, yes.
success? So what is success? Is success the launch of your library? Is success for me, giving out books to every library in the world? What is success? And that's the real question. What is your definition of success? And for me, it's the journey. It's each step along the way, the progression in furtherance of a worthy goal, right? Because that is the journey of life. If success is measured by getting married, well, you get married and then what? You're successful and then what? If it's having children, well, you had them, now what? Right? So you have a goal, you achieve it, and watch your emotions once you achieve it. Enjoy that moment, right? Because the universe is listening to the moment, right? Enjoy it.
No.
Just send out that vibration and see what comes up. That's why I say God is always pushed, like, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? This is kind of fun. Every day something happens and I'm like, okay, I'm doing that today. Who knows what's going to happen? Other people are very this way because their goal has to be that way. But there's so much involved with reaching that goal that the journey that they have to go through is so explosive and amazing that it's joyous just to see their ride, right? That is, that's why, oh, and the other thing I want to say, that story of you going towards your goal, you sent me something the other day that was so powerful that I posted it, and it was about books, right? Like, what is the power of books? Why do people read books? And um, it was a beautiful video, and it was a man that said, may you have the privilege of having the experience of reading a passage in a book and all of a sudden knowing that you're not alone in this world, right? Of knowing that somebody feels as you do, that someone has had the same experience that you have. And I started crying when you sent me that, because that's it. We are not alone. Our journey is everybody else's journey, or at least one other person's journey. And when you read about somebody who's gone through what you've gone through and has succeeded, you know, you're basically downloading their experience and sharing it with your entire DNA, saying, hey, listen up, it's okay, we're not alone, we're moving on to the next book, a new experience, a new joy. And you know, so thank you for that. That was amazing.
Yeah, I'm living that very example. Like for me, these podcasts are like, for me, you're a library too. That's why my company is called Alexandrian, because I believe every human being is a library and needs to be protected from being burned to the ground. And I'm having the actual conversation with you, and these conversations ennoble me and inspire me, and I'm so, you have so much to do that you make room for this is amazing. And one of the things I think we share is you have a funny way of seeing anything in your life as extra. And it's like, for me, like one of my mottos is like, I kind of live my life like I've already died once and everything now is a bonus. Because like I had some rough times in my past where I prayed for just having a little bit longer with my father, and having this sense of living on borrowed time, so to say, give me a great appreciation for the smallest kind of things anyway. And I feel you also share this, and somehow you're always very grateful, but you also have the virtue of wonder. You're a very wondrous person, I feel.
I always, you know, okay, so let's say something happens to you and you're wondering why it's happening to you, right? If you look at events as just gifts, because they're like, and I'm at a point where, in fact, my assistant director is laughing at me because at some point we we were trying to accomplish something, which was deliver books. I'm just giving you one example. We signed a mutual order of understanding with the Kenyan National Library, and in, to get the first shipment of books to that library, it was, I call it, an unusual, interesting learning experience. If anyone could have done everything and anything wrong, I mean, every mistake imaginable to have that goal happen, we did it together. Everything went wrong, everything imaginable. But so in the morning, so some other disaster would happen, and I would get a message, more learning, because if something went wrong, it meant that a lot of money was coming out of our nonprofit to fix the problem. And I go, yes, more learning. It will get better. It will get better. And at some point, I just surrendered. I said, I understand all of this is a gift, but could you please tell me how this is a gift? The books arrived. It was fabulous. And then we went and we delivered more books. And I sat down with members of the library in Kenya, and it turns out that because we have that agreement with that library, they have been gracious enough to open up the doors with every other library in Africa.
Oh,
And
wow.
so it took, and I'm simply sharing this with you because I have never, I mean, ever spent so much money to donate so little. and, and now I know that that money is like coming back to me exponentially with the value of just holding firm, because I could have stopped and I could have spent the money on something else, but I didn't. And that experience just has opened up a whole world to me that I didn't know was possible, right? So, uh, so look at everything ultimately as a learning experience, a gift. Reflect on it. I mean, who is it? I think Ray Dalio just put up a post saying, if you are experiencing pain, it's a good thing. Reflect on it. Why are you experiencing it? What is it that's causing the pain? And how do you fix it? And you fix it by reflecting on it, by looking at what caused this. How can we make it better? And if you go into, this is horrible, these people are screwing me over, you know, I'm blaming this person, blaming that person, blaming that person, you're not moving forward. You're just wasting time. So there you go.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I think these things change you also. Where it's very almost strange to say this, but I build psyches for a living at the moment. It's like I'm trying to populate this library that we're building. So one of the things I'm thinking a lot about is the different parts a psyche is made of, and some people are animated by more nihilistic parts, and more other people by more optimistic parts. And at the crossroads, this is actually a characterological defining moment where which is the human story in itself. Like, who are you when the flood is coming?
Yes, that, who are you in times of chaos and real, like when something horrible is happening, who do you turn into? Do you turn into somebody bitter that's blaming other people, that's saying, woe is me? Or do you say, okay, this is happening. What are we going to do about it? Um, so what you're doing is fascinating to me because it brings up so many things. And if I truly believe everything is a gift, so even our emotions are a gift, and every emotion is something that we can tap into, because really strong emotions, whatever they are, whether they're hate, they're anger or love, it's all energy, right? It's like really powerful energy. And so if you can use any of those emotions to move you forward in a positive direction towards your goal, right? Um, but you have to know how to use it. If you are so angry and you shut down and you don't move forward, you've wasted the energy. You know, because some people can't turn the thing into a gift right away. They are in that raw passion and emotion. And I'm sharing this with you because you're building the psyche, right? So what's driving these people to get to where they're going, right? And and if everything is energy, because ultimately we are, let's use all energy, good or what we label good or bad, but it really isn't. It's just energy to move us towards our goal. If if you are not happy with the state of your health, use that dissatisfaction to move you to eat better, to exercise, and to move forward. Um, don't sit there and simply not be satisfied. Use that energy to move you. Um, I I enjoy some emotions and some not. Like I really enjoy that state of bliss, you know, where it's just a playful, ridiculous, like what comes next. And you can feel that when you're with me because I'm always like, so what are you doing? And we're always talking about something fun and silly and amazing. I thrive in that energy. I don't do well with the sadness, but I carry it. We all carry all emotions. And our bodies are meant to, reflect on that emotion to get it through. The lower the emotion means you have to reflect more onto it, but that doesn't mean that it can't move you. So with your library, I'm fascinated. I'm all into what you're doing. And I have all these ideas to move you into all of these different places, which you may or may not want to go to, but I'm enjoying seeing the library grow, the characters build. I want to have conversations with like brilliant people from the past. I want to learn from them. I want to ask them honestly, what would they do in my situation, right? Like I'm really curious. I'm doing something my way. Is it the best way? I don't know. It's the best way I know how to do it. But what would they
Yeah.
do with it? That is what's so joyous about what you're doing and really fun.
We spoke about the divine council, so to say. We're launching a shout out to Bilal, my senior developer, who's I think working all night. I think he's not sleeping anymore, so he's deserves lots of credit. But we have like a voting function for like a group chat where we call these councils, where you can like ask multiple ghosts at once on what to do, and it's very interesting actually because it's like I'm a big sucker for these kinds of mental gymnastics, and they always spark interesting ideas. I think in the end you should still make your own call, but I think it's very interesting to give people the ability to view decisions from different angles, and just maybe relearning the ability to put ourselves into the shoes of someone else, and also reminding ourselves that the human story is a continuum, and that our ancestors have gone through shit, and that it's not as bad as it looks right now, and that's it's I think that's like what's so beautiful about what you're doing. It's like your eternal optimism, and how full you are for life. um could you like pinpoint to like a defining moment where you feel a particular superpower of yours woke up? And you spoke about emotions, and for me, for instance, grief was a very powerful emotion. My inability to goodbye my father, like that gave me like 20 years of drive. I'm still like there's this thing that won't heal to some degree, where um I think sometimes you can take something that's poisoning you as a child and dedicate your whole life on how to turn this into an antidote and share this with the world, so to say. And so it's like sometimes I think people should be a little bit more patient in regards to maybe this tragedy that's manifesting itself is my purpose that is being giving to me, and maybe this allows me to pursue something for many decades without pay, and this come to you
See,
know.
but pay will come, right? But that's not why you're doing it, and it's not why I'm doing what I'm doing, and it's not why the people that are helping me are doing it. It is a passion and a push. So, that thought and pain about possibly losing your father and not wanting to go through that has made you do something so beautiful and powerful, and it's still helping you. You're like creating things. You are giving a gift to the world of having people speak to the dead, and when I'm done with you, with everybody else, because I have all these amazing things I want to share with you. But it just what that is truly a gift, and you see it, right? But when you started, you probably didn't see it. You were just doing. You were just doing, and then it.
Yeah, it's almost like it's
Yeah.
almost like a curse that hit you at the right spot. And it's like one of my favorite quotes is, I love that you're so joyful in your energy. I think sometimes I'm very bad at parties, because there's a gravitas, like where I'm just in my head for a long time, in a way. And it is because I'm still operating out of that energy at time. It's become like almost like an emotional home, and it's sometimes difficult for me to tap out of it. And I wanted to ask you, like, you were battling so many issues globally also. How do you stay in your playful energy? Because for me, I one of my quotes I like is from the guy who wrote The Little Prince. What is his name? Saint Exupéry.
Oh, I just had the little prince downstairs.
Yeah. He said something.
I
He said that something along the way that like the best people are those who feel shame for miseries they did not cause. And I like the idea to also imagine of humanity's greats as weird people who
Mhm.
dedicated their life to something where it
Well, I
must be
don't
not
think they're
always the
weird
best.
people. The reason they're, I mean, the reason we're perceived as weird is that we're following our passion, our truth, and the rest of the world is following somebody else's truth. So uh, the point, how do I get to where I am? I finally let go of the stories that other people were projecting onto me. And you just projected on a story to yourself that may or may not be true, that you're in your head when you go to these parties. Well, you can choose to be open when you go to a party to experience joy or bliss or something outside of that zone that you're in, and it'll come in. But people are living, this is my belief. You know, everybody listening can hear this. And I have a question for everybody listening. Are you living your truth? Are you waking up each morning and deciding what you want to do? Or are you waking up, going to a job that you don't like, and simply putting in the time to get money so that you can go home, eat food you don't like, and have a life you are not enjoying? I want people on the planet to enjoy every moment of being in this beautiful physical form. I mean, our physical bodies are such gifts. We can go climb mountains. We can taste food. Food is so good. I love food. All sorts of food. We can taste any type of food. And who was it? I think I told you. I don't eat popcorn. I like popcorn, but I don't eat it because I had braces when I was young and I didn't like the way it stuck in my teeth. So no popcorn for me. But aside from that, everything else is fair game. It is joyous to eat. That experience is a gift of humanity. It's a gift of physical form. I mean, you're dealing with dead people. I assure them on your algorithm, ask them if they were alive, what would they want to do? And they'd all say, I'd want to go to my favorite restaurant.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
when I think of the most precious moments of my life, it's like I had a barbecue with my father where like 2 days ago, and it was there's like certain parts about it. We always use fire. They don't use electricity, and it's just sitting around each other and feasting together, which is like something so simple, but which means much more
Which
than
is
all the money in the
beautiful. It
world.
is like
Yeah,
such a gift. And it's
yeah,
primal because we've been doing it forever. That's where stories started
yeah.
together, sharing stories.
Um, if you could travel to any past self of Teresa, who would you pay a visit, and what would you guys talk about?
Um, Past visit of me. Um, well, I did my DNA,
Already?
and so I have. It's very interesting that I have a Nigerian life, um, and I'm fascinated with Africa, and so it would be very interesting um, to understand the beauty of that life. I also, have DNA from France and Spain, and um, like the I'm very fascinated with the flow of ideas and the transformation from one age to the next. Um, and I guess if it was one particular life, um, I don't know, I would go as far back as possible, whether I was a man or a woman in a past life, and just like what is it? I live in the middle of nowhere now, and so I pretty much live as a survivalist. But what is it like to really survive in the wild? What is it like to sit and stare at the stars at night and have to know and trust that I'm going to wake up in the morning? Like we all know the sun's going to rise. We don't even question that. But when there's nothing and it's just you and the elements, it is powerful. I mean, I I do not believe that people our age and in this century could go and live in an ice age. I just like the mentality, the because I mean you have to be able to simply shut your mind and go into, this is what I need to do now. This is how I get food. This is how I do this, which is very empowering, you know, in a way, because at that point you are just straight collected because you have no mind clutter. There's no noise. There's just me, the earth, and the stars. So there you go.
Yeah, I wonder if comfort on this level that we experience right now is so good for us. And it's, for me, necessity and deprivation have been big allies of mine in my life. Where I'm from, there was not many people who were depressed because we had stuff. Because we were so engaged on having to fulfill the responsibilities that were bestowed upon us in some degrees. Interesting. So you think like your ancestors were different versions of you?
I do. I think we carry our ancestors with us.
Mm.
That's why your library is so fascinating to me. I think that we are the latest version of every other version that was on the planet. That's why I said the ages are so interesting. And we have taken, if we're very good at it, we've taken the best of what our experiences were in the past. And we are the best version of everything that has happened on the planet. That's the ideal, you know, like each generation is better than the last. And at least I would pray, and I'm going to project that onto the future, because I believe that we learn from the past and then we up level. And so your statement that you don't know if what I think you said, you don't know if it's good or bad that we have so much technology around us and the clutter, but it's evolution. It's where we're meant to go, right? Otherwise it wouldn't be here. So you can look at everything that shows up as something that's going to harm us or something that's going to add value to us. So I see technology as a tool that's going to liberate us to a point where we're going to see the true fulfillment of humanity. I mean, it's going to be so cool to be able to, through that library, just be able to speak to anybody, anywhere. You know what this reminds me of? Let's go back to movies. Did you ever see, what was it? It was a very funny movie with Sylvester Stallone. What was it? He's a police officer and he dies, and then he comes back to life, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I remember this. I remember this movie. But what you just discussed with the earlier on with Napoleon Hill, I think Neil Wood shared about this also. I didn't actually know that Napoleon Hill was almost like what we're doing right now, right? It's like asking a good question and then talking to people. It was very inspiring to hear that people from the past also did these weird things, because I didn't know this was a thing. Anyway, but I think like not having a divine council in the world who makes decisions in regards to what to invent is very dangerous in regards to potentially inventing something that does not align with our values. Because for me, as a CEO, that's how I make my decisions. What is the vision that we are sharing, and where do we want to go, and is this fitting into this vision onwards? And it feels that we don't have such a council at the moment, or the people who are in those positions, I don't think they are driven by honoring our ancestors to some degree, but rather maybe optimizing for something short term.
I would say that I don't have enough information to either agree or disagree with your statement, because there are councils. The question is, you know, we have a United Nations. We have governments in each country, and they believe that they're councils. Then we have councils that are just for the environment. We have councils for this, we have councils for that. And I think so. And my goal is I don't believe that those councils are effective because those people are not living in authenticity and inner truth, right? They're living off of other people's stories. Until I get shown otherwise, I honestly believe that everybody needs to go through this work of saying, who am I? Why am I doing this? Am I doing this to please somebody else? Am I doing this to enrich myself? Is this ego driven or are my actions world driven? And in addition to that, are they driven because I have a need to rescue and to be a savior? Because that's not good either. Because we're not
Hold on a second for 1 minute. Can we take a short break? 5 minutes?
of course.
I think I broke something. One moment.
Oh, but
What
wait,
is
while you're
this?
taking the break and fixing it, can I talk to you? Or are we
Yes,
getting
yes,
okay?
please.
So I got interviewed by Who's Who in America, and I got
Yeah.
interviewed by the Forbes Council.
Oh,
I
really?
want you to do a library for everybody in Who's Who everywhere. Who's Who Africa, Who's Who this, Who's Who that. Whatever, because what they're doing is a biological database, like a historical database that everybody uses.
Oh, really? Well, it's like don't give me a panic attack during the middle of the interview. There's of course spectacular news, and I would be honored both for the
No,
podcast
no,
and the
no.
library to
I
facilitate
was
this.
just saying, like, because the Who's Who is like it's a historical database, biographical database of everybody who's who in the world,
Ah, so they have data of these guys.
of everybody that's in it.
Oh, wow.
And
This
and I didn't submit an application, but I got a call saying we've gotten your application. I said, what application? And they said, your application to be in Who's Who in America. And I said, thank you very much. I never applied. So no, thank you. And then I got a call back. No, you don't understand. They submitted this application and they paid for you. And I said, I don't even understand what that means. And the next thing I know, they're interviewing me. They're asking me the same questions you are, and they're telling me about their library. And I'm saying to myself, Daniel needs access to this freaking library. I know he's focused on ancients in history, but the library is like the current future ancients.
now this is amazing. I can already see this of I need to show you behind the scenes how everything works, but this could be easily implemented, and there is no reason that this cannot like exponentially grow, where it's like
No,
it's
your idea is like it's like magic. I love what you do. And like
thank you
every
so
time
much. It means so much.
every time I meet somebody and they're doing something like a library, I'm like, I was meant to meet Daniel. I don't know why you came in, but you came in. And then JP, I never met with Cameron, but JP, I'm getting him a freaking distribution deal with AMG. We're meeting with Alana tomorrow, and then we're meeting with AMG on the 4th because he's doing the same thing I'm doing, except with boxing. Isn't that amazing? See what you do?
Well, I'm happy I'm happy to. I was afraid that I was giving you too much intros and overwhelming you with a little bit of a way, but you should also meet Cameron because he knows everybody. He knows
Okay, I'll try to
he's
reach
been a
out to him.
yeah, talk to him also. He's been knows the who's who of Hollywood still. So it's like he's a good contact to have, and he's really cool. He's a visionary like you. He has a. I know you used the word popcorn. He's a popcorn brain too, where ideas just explode from him all the time, and we talk to for many hours in a way always. Yeah.
Was it JP that said he met you somewhere in Asia, and 4 hours later, like he was like, you were friends, you were met at a bar, and you just kept talking for 4 hours?
I met him at a coffee shop. I met him actually when I was pursuing the earliest iteration of Alexandrian, but did not know what I was doing. So I gave all my money in the beginning, like to some person who I thought would build this, but he scammed me, didn't program a single line of code, and I got stranded in Bangkok for. And that's where I met JP, where I was like, this is all awful in a way. And then, but I made some friends
Now
along
to
the way.
everybody. Now you won't get scammed. There you go.
We all get scammed at some point. Okay, let me take a 2 minute, 2 to 5 minute break. I'll go to the toilet and then we continue.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay,
Perfect.
wonderful.
Tell us about the story of your book. And could you, it's your book is behind you, right?
Oh, I have many books behind me. So,
The
but this
leadership
one is.
book you wrote.
Oh, the leadership book. Yes, leadership is over here. I have a lot of leadership books. Um, and I just came out with another one too. But anyway, this one is the Power
Yeah.
of Leadership. And that one is the one where I tell the story about the elevator and being mugged in the elevator. And I also tell a story in there of when I just got out of law school. I I had the idea of doing a national magazine, actually an international magazine on artists to promote their work. And the name of that magazine was Curio. And I did it, I did what I did now, except that I stopped when I hit a roadblock. And I shouldn't have stopped, I should have kept going, but I wasn't prepared at the time. Um, and it's and it basically just shares with people the leadership of play. My conclusion that if you look at life as a playground and you meet people and simply say, "Come join me, let's go play," as opposed to sitting back and going, "Okay, who are you? What threat do you bring to me? How, what guardrails am I going to put against you?" Um, Life becomes different because children don't know hate. If you take a group of children and you just put them on a playground and just watch them, if they don't know that they're supposed to hate the person across from them, because of religion or because something happened in their families, they just play and they're joyous. They don't have anger in their hearts. They want to learn how to do this. They want to learn how to, play in the jungle gym. They want to explore together. And that's the innocence that I want to bring back to people, because we, as human beings, we are not hateful. We are not, we it's like that we don't have it in ourselves to look at somebody else and simply dislike them. That is taught. All of that is downloaded from family. Like, that's why Romeo and Juliet is so powerful. I mean, those two guys fell in love and they would have been fine, except for the family, because they didn't know any better. And that issue of where does it come from is talked about in literature all over the place. And how do we uplift from the programs that tell us no, we're not supposed to trust, we're not supposed to engage because there's all of this danger around us. Well, there's danger because we perceive that there's danger. you know if we project something out there, it just happens to us. Like, all I'm talking about now is butterflies. I assure you, everybody that I speak to, the minute that they see a butterfly, I get a picture on my phone because they've seen a butterfly, because injected I've opened up their consciousness to see butterflies, right? And so we really are what we project out, what we're thinking about. And the leadership book talks about how the power of story and the power of play can transform the world.
Do you know the experiments with the selective attention test?
No, I don't. I thought
It's
that.
very, very interesting. When I was studying psychology, they showed this video, and you're supposed to count. There's a red ball, and there are like four people in it, and they throw the ball to each other. And you're supposed to count the number of times they pass the red ball. And then you do this, and then after the video stops, the text appears how many times, and but also, did you see the gorilla?
Oh, yes, 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 I've seen that.
And
And
half of the class goes, wow. I was like, where was the gorilla? There was no gorilla. And then they show the video again. It's almost crazy that there's like this gorilla walking through the image, and nobody sees this because your mind is trained in this particular, not to screen for it. And it's very interesting, the degree that everything that we're not aiming at is almost invisible. to us, and where these conversations, they also change, for instance, how I am reacting to my environment, because it's suddenly there's an opportunity that was right in front of my nose that I didn't see before, something like this.
But that's the beauty of meeting people and having these discussions and the beauty of masterminds. I have really enjoyed the last 2.5 years of my life. All I've been doing is meeting new people, interesting people, and asking, what is their vision? What's their dream? Because I have my dream, they have their dream, and I want to know why they think as they do, and why, and they get to ask me why I think as I do, because I don't know everything. They don't know everything, although some people do think that they know everything. And if you're not open to the possibility that your opinion may be able to expand and see the gorilla, if you're not open to that possibility, then it's never going to happen. Then why am I speaking to you? I'm learning, if I speak to somebody who doesn't have an ridiculously open mind, then that person is limited and they're not going to reach their full potential, because you have to be open to the possibility that you do not have all the answers, that you are not, the be all and end all. That's the beauty of all the people on the earth, the beauty of your library, the beauty of having different people with genius in different areas. I'm not saying we can't all be geniuses with everything, because the information is there. It's like walking into a library. If there was enough time, you would be able to learn everything about everything, right? In this lifetime, I'm not going to limit myself to say that I can't learn everything, because now we have a holographic library, an AI library. Who knows? Soon you'll be putting like little electrodes on my head, and I'll be asking information about something, and it'll be like what is it? The Matrix. It'll be like the Matrix, and the next thing you know, I'll be off doing Taekwondo and like running around and doing amazing things. That may happen in my lifetime, but from past, there's only a certain amount of things I can master, and I want to master as much as I can in my area of expertise. So I think it's very important that we go off and we meet people, and we especially engage with people who are not like us. Because if you meet somebody who's just like you, you're as happy as could be. Ooh, they're vibrating like me. Let's go dance. Let's go do stuff. But you're not challenging yourself, and you're not meeting somebody who may be there to teach you something, who might be there to point out something that you haven't noticed, like a gorilla or like something else. And their perception is going to change you and open you up to something new. And I know that every time I meet somebody, they, they're like, what is happening here? Right? I don't get it. I don't get the butterfly. I don't get this. And sometimes it's a fear response, and sometimes it's a laugh response, and sometimes they get it because they remember what it's like to be a child, and they want to have that feeling again. So it's so important to meet new people, so important to engage, and opportunities just open up that you wouldn't otherwise have.
It's I love that you found this butterfly. It's we need more stuff that we can agree over and that unites us. And it's like I stumbled upon this with Alexandrian, the idea that books connect people, and that also like, everybody has someone they would like to ask a question, and that seems to be like a blessing of the skies where people seem to understand that. One of the things I'm fascinated about you is you're very. How did you learn? I think like as a preserving force of something as a visionary, you also need to master the ask or the ability to fundraise or the how unite. How did you learn this? Because that's something
No,
where
this is an evolving pattern, right? And so I remember when I was put in charge of fundraising for the largest nonprofit in Oregon Neighbor Impact. And I remember sitting there, and it was a mastermind, and we were being trained. And I said, you do realize that you put somebody who grew up in lack in charge of your fundraising? And they said, why? And I said, because I grew up with nothing. I still don't know if I'm worthy of wealth, and I'm projecting that out. And because I had that conversation at that time, there was another fun, like we partnered with really amazing people, and we were partnered with a man that became the head of the fundraising, and there's a certification for really high-end fundraisers, and that man knew how to raise money. Not only did he vibrate with such confidence and assurance, and he knew that every conversation he would have would lead to something. It would either lead to a check being written to him for the organization, because remember, his paycheck was commission based, right? So he had a huge incentive to bring in the funders. But to watch him at that phase, to simply embody the vibration of wealth, merit, like I think Glenn Morshower talks about the 4 rooms of development, and the first room is the room of no, of like everywhere you go, you get a no. The second room is the room of possibility. People don't say no, but they're okay. And then the third room is the room of, well, tell me more. And then the fourth room is the room of inevitability, right? I am now putting myself in the room of inevitability. That means when I walk in and I ask, people are going to say yes. And they're saying yes because I believe that they're going to say yes. And they're saying yes because what I'm doing is not only good for me, for them, but for the world. I am doing something that's uplifting and uplifting the world. And this gentleman I'm talking about, he knew that our nonprofit was doing something good for the world. We were feeding the poor. We were educating children that otherwise wouldn't have an education. We were helping people with their electricity bills. We were building houses. I mean, he had that already, but I had never experienced somebody at that level. Like I didn't have that experience. So when you ask me, how do I get to the level where I can ask and receive? It's an ongoing process. You have to believe not only that you deserve the money, but that you're going to get the money and that your goal is inevitable. And right now, that's where I am, because everything I'm doing is uplifting the world. And it is, I was going to use the word behoove.
Be what?
I love that. We can put that on the reel. Behooves.
Behooves.
No, it brings value to whoever gives me money, because it is going to uplift them as well. Everything that I do in partnership uplifts everyone. And so how did I get to where I am? It took a lot of steps to have that level of belief to get there. And now, because I went to some other mastermind, it was fabulous. We came up with my mantra: I easily ask and abundantly receive. And after I went to that thing, I was just like, hello, I need money. This is what I need money for. It's a really good idea. It benefits you, it benefits me, it benefits the world. And things are moving. If people say no, they say no, but I keep going. But they're like, wow, I like this woman. And I get calls going, okay, so tell me again what you're doing, because they remember the energy. So it's just a process. You need to be at a point where you totally believe in what you're doing, and that you know that you're gonna achieve it.
How do you ask for how much? But I'm starting probably a non-profit for Alexandrian and also a for-profit, where it seems to be two branches that are necessary for it anyway. When you ask for money, it's because one of the things I notice is when you grow up poor, you have a financial terms that's sometimes still in your mind that is.
Oh yeah, but there are different. So
does it make any sense what I'm asking? Where it's like you're...
It does, and there are different benchmarks, because for me, I am not doing philanthropy the way normal people are doing it. I don't believe that asking for $100 is going to do anything. I don't believe that giving out $100 to someone in need is going to change their lives. I am focused on like huge transformational things that are going to uplift systems. And that requires a ton of money. So I'm not doing the December fundraisers. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And even the butterfly event, I pitch it as a fundraiser, but really it's a friend maker, right? I want people to go and enjoy themselves so much that when I ask for big money, they're going to say, oh, yeah, it's the most joyous thing I've ever been to. Of course, come talk to me. Let's see what you're doing. But what you're talking about is two different things. When you're raising money for a business, you need a return on investment. You need this, that, and the other. When you're raising money for philanthropy, which is a business, you need to have impact, huge impact, because you want to give something to the people that are investing in it where they see that they are really uplifting the world. So for you and for me, because I have a for-profit business as well, and it's coaching and public speaking and a whole bunch of other things, but they dovetail, right? One promotes the other, but they're different ways of asking for money. I don't know if I've answered your question, but this is like a huge subject that requires you to talk to people that are much more knowledgeable than I am on this particular topic.
I think you're great at it. And this, I wouldn't have introduced you to people I introduce you if I wouldn't believe in you, and I wouldn't think that the causes are justified. And it's like, um, I was in a museum recently and thought of you, and it was like this. Berlin is full of beautiful museums, and there was this one guy. He lived like 200 years ago, and he fundraised from his family, got them to give them all their money to go into the jungle on the other side of the world to potentially find some treasure to bring back. And I just felt so connected to this story, that there has been always people who saw value in something that was invaluable to the eyes of a civilian, or somebody where that dream was not giving to them. And I feel it's a human tradition that we have people who endure the mockery and the no's and the forums, but do it anyhow. And these are my kind of people, and I think you definitely fit into the
Yes.
category of those people who do whatever is necessary to for the
At
mission.
some point, those voices, because remember I said as you go up, you lose people. Um, life is short. We might as well go for it. And the people that say you can't do it, like I posted something yesterday, and it was so funny. I said, uh, don't believe me, just watch, because I'm not going to sit there and listen to your no. What is that doing for me? That no is your no because you're not doing it, and you don't want me to do it because somehow that might reflect upon you that you didn't try, and that's your business. That's not mine. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to enjoy what I'm doing. And if I fail, I'm going to learn from it and I'm going to move on and keep doing it. So
What was the biggest test of your leadership?
I've had so many tests of my leadership. Um, this has all been a learning experience for me. And sometimes you trust people and you get them involved. And then as your vision progresses, it's not in line with them. And so it's very important as you do your nonprofit and for profit that you find people that honestly will grow with you, because we're all human, we're all at different places. And I am not here with the Trueness Project to make somebody famous or rich or look good. Like it's not an individual story that I am uplifting, right? Um, and for me, just building the board, finding the right people that have the vision. You start off with some people, and I keep saying, then they drop. when you invite somebody into your vision, to your world, they're the goal, the vision is the vision. That's where we're all striving for. Like you might have personal goals and things you want to succeed at, um, but and that's good. I honor those, but not at the expense of the vision of the nonprofit or the business, right?
Yeah.
Because and so my biggest challenge was getting to a point where I had to remove people that I deeply loved from my project, from the nonprofit. And I had never, because I, it was a point where they never believed that I would succeed to the point that I did. And if that is the truth, then why were they with me? Right? So as soon as the nonprofit went up, and they wanted all the credit for everything that we had all done together, it became about them and not about us. And we're us. Like, what I'm building is a community. It is like any one of us could go, even I could go, and it would still go. That is what I'm creating. And I cannot have a situation where somebody's, I guess, personal, like, I'm going to say ego, interferes with something that's not about them, me, you. It's truly about us and the world. So that was my biggest challenge. I'd never experienced anything like that. I honestly believed that we were all in the same vision. And now when somebody comes in, I ask point blank, this is what I'm doing in the world. This is my goal. This is my endpoint. Are you committed to getting there and doing what it takes to get there? Because this has not been an easy ride. I have people that haven't been paid in a long time. I haven't been paid in a long time. And we do what we do because we believe that it's right and that it's moving us forward. And I'm not saying that we haven't benefited from what we're doing, but the reality is that money wasn't the impetus that's moving us forward. It's the vision of what we're creating that's moving us forward.
Well, the world needs people like you. And how do I put it? Society, there's a quote I like. It's like society blossoms when people of old and young plant trees where they will not sit in the shades of those.
Yes.
And it's hard to find these people, but they somehow exist. And for me, what I judge people in, as somebody who has endured with my family some not so nice part of the human condition, I judge people by if they are able to do the right thing, not only without reward, but by enduring negative consequences in a way. It's like, for me, I'm in Berlin here, that we have little stones on the streets. They are called Stolpersteine, where they're engraved of the people who were persecuted here. And I always ask people, like myself, when I meet people, it's like, would that particular person hide me and my father if it would come down to it? And it's like how I judge missionaries. Like, are they able to dedicate themselves to something bigger and paying a price for it? And if not, that's fine. But then they're mercenaries, and you can't put them into leadership roles inside of your companies, or they're gonna stop behaving the way you want. The pay stops, or it becomes uncomfortable to do so, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Tell us about your ongoing project. What are you working on?
So many things. I will share that I'm working on a documentary, um, and it is a documentary on bringing the players from Africa who play flag football to the Olympics in 2028. Now, the project is beautiful because I started a flag football league in the Kibera slums in Africa, and Kibera is the largest slum in all of Africa. And my vision, I have to be honest, I watched Cool Runnings on the way to Africa that time. And I knew that flag football was going to be an Olympic sport. And I, I really wanted to do something that would transform the slum. And I've been blessed because I got a guaranteed distribution deal with AMG to do this. But the idea is this: I bring Hollywood to the slums, and we share the stories of these brilliant children um, or young adults who are brilliant, and they are learning leadership through sports. So it's really uplifting the continent through sports. And we're not just going to focus on the Kibera slums, we're going to do other flag football leagues throughout Africa, and we're going to have the participants film themselves and interview themselves. And it's really all about storytelling. You are a storyteller. This would be a good thing for the storyteller. And my goal is to bring those kids to the Olympics in 2028 in Los Angeles, to document that, and to use the focus of the documentary to uplift the slum, because there's such new technology that could rebuild the houses for for a much lower amount than there used to be. The water system needs to be purified, and there are so many technologies that can do that. The, the sanitation system needs upgrading. I mean, there's so many things that this project is going to uplift, and it's also going to bring, like when I wrote the thesis for it, I said it's going to be the jewel in the crown for Africa, because if this slum can be transformed, that continent can do anything. And they have the mindset. It's part of flag football that we teach leadership. You know, that's the Trueness Project's piece in all of this. Yes, they're learning flag football, and they're learning how to do a sports team, and they're learning how to do concessions, and they're learning how to do this and that, advertising, this, that, and the other thing. But they're also learning leadership, because even in professional sports, you can have 10,000 people play sports in college, and only 2% get in to the sport, or maybe 1%. And and we're teaching skills, marketable skills, to all the students that participate. So that is my big audacious plan. Then the other thing I'm working on, and I'm raising money for, is to buy the largest butterfly collection in all of Africa. It consists of 4.2 million specimens. These are pinned butterflies. So it's like going back to Tarzan times, where you'd have the people go off and catch the butterflies and pin them. And My plan is to buy that collection, to build a beautiful museum around the butterflies, to build a beautiful butterfly pavilion with live butterflies, and a leadership and event center there, because my ultimate goal is to teach the next generation of leaders to love themselves, to love the planet, and to really lead from a space of integrity, and to preserve our pollinators. And the first question you asked me, you know, when did I fall in love with butterflies? I didn't have a childhood, so I really couldn't tell you the childhood part of me. But when my son was a child, I enjoyed the butterflies, and I will never forget that experience. And I know that when we do the butterfly event and we release the butterflies, oh, the children are like, it landed on me. Look, mom, it landed on me. And they run around, and they're so happy, and they remember this, and they remember the beauty of the experience, and they'll remember how important it is to have pollinators on the planet. And if we do that, we're really going to preserve them, and we're going to do goodness for the world. So those are the two things I'm going to talk about. I'm doing many other things, but those are the two big ones.
Looking forward to discover avenues and how to support you in both of them. They're so important. And sports was one of I'm a former basketball player, where my big brother was a pro too, and it was one of the things that uh, it gets you. It's not so much that gets you out of the bad neighborhood, but it changes your story about who you are. It gives you a new story. And I think that's something that is where we grew up. It was never so much about the resource deprivation, but it was the feeling you had that all the good things in the world are not available to you because you're born there and because you don't see successful examples around you. And sports is a belief breaker in those systems. So it's like
Right.
one of the very things you can give people to beautify their own environment and become voices of goodness inside of there. Let's move over to the last part of the interview because I know you have many important things to get to. It's called the Alexandrian questionnaire. It's a couple of questions that you can answer from your gut, so to say, with what comes to mind about words
Okay,
and authors.
here we go.
What's your favorite question?
What is your dream?
Your favorite word?
Light.
Least favorite word?
Popcorn.
A book that changed your life?
Think and Grow Rich.
A quote you strive to live by?
Thinking will get you so far, but imagination will get you everywhere. I think that's an Einstein quote. I'm not saying it right, but it basically sums up everything I believe. Imagination will get us everywhere.
If you could resurrect 3 authors from history to add to your personal board of advisors, or people for that matter, who would they be to support you in your ventures?
Benjamin Franklin, absolutely. Love him in every way, shape, or form. Let's see. I would really like to spend time with Martin Luther King. And then the third author, I'm going to go with Napoleon Hill for now because that's what I teach. That's what I love. And there is so much more to him than just the book. It's the story. And because he transformed as he interviewed all these people too. But really the most joyous one that I mentioned is Benjamin Franklin, because really the printing press, the diplomacy, the storytelling, for him to go to France and to convince them to join us. And then he had to escape France. I mean, he fascinates me. He's just amazing.
What author comes to mind when you think of the word punchable?
Punchable?
Yes,
Punchable.
punchable, yes.
Okay, well, I'm into sports, so I'm going to say Manny Pacquiao. He's certainly punchable. He's an author. He's a singer. I think he even got a Grammy for punchable. Okay.
Yeah, you know who's one moment. Let me put in my microphone back in. I'm gonna cut this out one moment. I thought we are done, but I just discovered how to have eternal energy with my microphone, which is amazing. A moment. Okay. Yeah, there we go again. Yeah, JP
Oh,
knows
that's
many and
nice.
many. Yeah, JP knows better many, many. Okay. If you can send a video message to the world leaders that are governing right now, what would you
Oh,
tell them?
I would say that inner peace can only happen with inner truth, and that they're sitting at a table trying to negotiate peace. Who's at that table? Have they done the work to know and to feel inner peace within themselves? Because if they haven't done the work, there's no way they're going to get there, because you can only give what you have, right? So, and and I know you understand what I'm saying. I could not have this conversation with you 3 years ago because I would have been a different person. I was in lack, I was in fear, I was in this, I was in that. But I do know that if we teach the next generation of leaders to lead with integrity from a place where they know who they truly are. They are that divine light, and they are here to shine. They're not here to grab money or power. They are here to uplift each other and the planet. You will find peace and you will uplift the planet. So anyway, that's my muted message, but it's true. We all need to work on each other. We're here to help each other. It is not about a piece of land. It's about inner peace. I mean, that's it. Nobody cares about this border. They care about life. So
And one of the things I learned from you is the importance of play in regards to a vision. And I hope that we can come also together to have a playful adventure forwards where everybody is participating in. And that seems to be much better
okay,
than,
so now since we're going to end with this, and Daniel is speaking to me, I spoke to Daniel. I love the first meeting I had with Daniel because these ideas were like boom, boom, boom. He's doing a library. It's fascinating. It's amazing. And the only thing I could see were holograms. Like I want Alexandrian to I want to sit in an amphitheater and have a conversation with these great leaders. And I want students to sit there. I want them to get credit for doing that. I mean, it would just be so much fun to go to school. It's like, who am I meeting today? He's going to have Benjamin Franklin sitting in front of me in a hologram, and I'm going to ask questions, and I'm going to go, and how did you do this? And he was such a ladies' man. Do you have any idea what Benjamin Franklin looked like? It's hard to believe that he was a ladies' man, right? And like, I'm wondering, and he was like philandering everywhere. That's fascinating to me. Like, what vibrations did that man have? What gravitas? I mean, it's just fascinating, that whole thing. So I find it beautiful to meet with people and to see what synergies and ideas come out. I may not have all the ideas, but I know that I shared with Daniel ideas that he didn't have. And he shared with me knowledge and information that I didn't have. And something good came of it. It's like we met other people and we're helping other people and they're helping us. And so I guess my final words for your community is go out and meet people. Go enjoy that playfulness of joy. Pretend you're going to the playground. For Daniel, go play basketball. Pretend you're going to go play basketball and see what happens. I'm a very competitive person. I assure you that if I get challenged to a basketball game, I'm going to figure out a way to somehow score and do well. And it's fun to compete that way, to compete in a way that uplifts everyone. So let's go out and have fun. There you go.
last question. And we just spoke of holograms. If we would equip your grave, your final resting place, with a hologram of yours, and it could play like one last message that would be played for eternity if people would find that particular spot, what would it say?
Oh, the hologram?
Yeah.
I, I would say that if they found my hologram, obviously I would be dressed as a butterfly. And I would say, you are here to shine. That you are a gift from God and you are here to shine and shine so bright, because the more you shine, the more you give praise to that power that created you and brought you onto this earth.
Where can we find you? And for those listening, how can we support you, Teresa?
You can find me at the truenessproject.org. And for those that want to participate in the butterfly event, it's really fun. So if you're listening, you can't see me, but if you're watching, it's butterfly. So I'm fluttering my arms, march.com. And it is the most joyous event on the planet. And, everybody is invited, but only the chosen participate. And the Flutterverse is the best verse.
Looking forward to find ways to contribute to the Flutterverse being born as you imagine it. I hope I will be able
Absolutely.
to come with my look and don't have to put on the butterfly wings.
I know.
I can be the
Well,
earliest
you know what?
stages.
I had fun today dressing people up as butterflies using AI. Send me a picture of you with that leather jacket and I'll get it butterflied. I'm telling you, you don't have to dress up like a butterfly, but the butterfly theme is going to be there. And perhaps I'll have you go in my butterfly fashion show. I have these ideas. I know we're over, but I have these ideas of like black tie events with the tuxedo and having the butterfly prints because butterflies are like people. They come in all different shapes, colors, sizes, and it's amazing. And we could just like create all of these patterns. I'm telling you, I had so much fun today.
You're amazing, Teresa. Life is just bubbling out of you. It was an honor and a privilege to talk to you and to enjoy also our previous correspondences. And I'm looking forward to see you in person next time, maybe when you're in Germany, or we meet in Africa for
Yes,
some
absolutely.
project. It would be amazing. And any last words from you? Otherwise, I will just
No,
thank the
thank you
listeners
so
too.
much. No, thank you so much. This was joyous.
It was joyous for me too. For everybody who was listening, please support Teresa and her ventures. Buy her book and have a look at the project she's involved in. And if you know somebody who can help, send that person to her way. Thanks so much for listening. See you in the next episode.